Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. My name is Amy, and I'm the founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and courses, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you like the podcast, you're going to love the Irresistible You online course and VIP private podcast. If you want to learn more about it, head on over to irresistibleacing.com/course. That link is also in the show notes. Welcome back to the podcast. Let me just throw a question out at you and then we will jump into the meat and potatoes of the episode. How much of your life are you missing because you're too busy, too occupied, too distracted, hating your body while time is quietly slipping away? I want you to really think about that as we go through this episode. I am right now, as all of you with children probably are, we are at the end of the school year. And the end of the school year for me is a slow heartbreak. Honestly, it's a bittersweet feeling. It is a hard line in the sand reminder that my kids have come and gone a whole year, right? I get very emotional towards the end of the school year. I get very emotional the last couple weeks of summer because it's this hard line in the sand that time keeps marching on. They are growing, they are, moving to the next level. And that's what we want as parents. We want our kids to thrive, we want our kids to grow, we want our kids to become these amazing people that eventually become amazing adults. But it is so true, the cliche of parenthood where it says, what's the hardest part of parenthood? Watching your kids grow up. What's the best part? Watching them grow up. So it's this very like bitter motherhood, parenthood is very bittersweet for me, and I'm sure for you as well. And it really has me thinking about time, how fast time goes, how time does not slow down for any of us, and just knowing that so many other things in our life we could do again, we could get back, we could, you could keep on working, you could keep on making money, you cannot keep on making time. And this heartbreak of the time almost like falling through your hands and the emotions are hitting really hard. My kids will be done with school very soon, and Javi is finishing his first year of pre-K. Catalina is finishing her third grade school year, which is just crazy to me. And the end of the school year is wild. There's so much to do. There's a reason why they call it Maycember, between all of the end of the year teacher gifts, the end of the year parties, the end of the year field trips. And then if you do extracurriculars, we just finished up our cheer competition season. And there's, team gifts, coach gifts. My Venmo is popping off. I don't know how many Venmos I have sent in the last month, but if it doesn't slow down in terms of the money drain, I mean, I'll be okay with that. But I think another reason I'm feeling pretty bittersweet about this is that my kids are going to be changing schools, and the school that we're at has, I'm going to cry, like it's just been um such a like instrumental part of our family and our day-to-day routine, and it's just a very small knit community, and we've been there for so long now. And um my daughter has been there since preschool. Obviously Javi started preschool there, so it just has this very special place. And when Catalina was diagnosed with type 1, she had just started preschool. She was like, I think 2 or 3 months into preschool at this particular place when she was diagnosed. And so it honestly became a safe place for us because we felt like this was a really safe place for her to be. And it's the reason why we've stayed for so long. And anyway, so this is an extra emotional end of the school year, and I want to not acknowledge it, and I want to run away from it, and I don't want to feel it, and I don't want to cry, and I don't want to be emotional, and I don't want to feel those things. But I also know running away from feelings, suppressing feelings is how we load up on the emotional weight, and I know that I have to go through this, and I know they're going to be better for it, and I know better things are ahead, and it's the end of a chapter, so to speak. And even if they were staying at the school, I still feel like this every single year. Um, and for me, so what I want to talk about, I know this might be a little long-winded, but I promise you'll just stay with me here. I have always been, and when I say painfully, I've stressed that in bold and italics and underlined. I have always been painfully aware of how fleeting life is. And motherhood has multiplied that, has zoomed in on that like 100x, right? I remember feeling this way in high school. I remember the Labor Day, because back in the day, school never started until Labor Day was over. And that's the way it should be. I digress. School should never start in August. August is the summer. We should not be starting school in the middle of August. Okay, I rest my case. So it was Labor Day weekend. We're down in Cape Hatteras, my parents' beach house, and I had my three best friends at the time. There was the four of us. We're always together. We were always everywhere. I mean, we were inseparable, right? And I remember just having the best weekend with them. We were driving, or my dad was, because you can drive on the beaches there, which is one of the reasons it's so appealing. And he was like driving on the beach, and we were all sitting on the back of the truck, like on the tailgate, and like we were just having a good old time and have like just being silly. And I remember like I came off the tailgate, and then I was trying to get back on, and then my dad would like speed up and slow down. It was hilarious, and we were just having the funnest time that whole weekend. Like so many good memories, and I just remember thinking and telling the girls like, "Man, this is our last weekend of freedom. This is our last weekend of, before we're going to be done with school," because this was like the Labor Day before senior year. And it was like, man, after next year, like everybody's going to be off doing their own thing, off in college, this and that. So I just remember feeling that way. And I'm so corny that you know how in your yearbook for senior year you have to give a quote? My quote was some stupid shit like, "Time is the monster that kills us all." I think it was from oh my god, what was that movie? Dangerous Minds. Remember Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer? Uh Gangster Paradise, Coolio, the soundtrack. It was either from the soundtrack or it was in one of the, like, in the movie. It was from that movie. I don't know. But that's how cheesy I have always been, and I have always hated that I feel things so deeply with change. I don't like change. I it it's just it's too much. It's too overwhelming. It's too many feelings. So I've always kind of had this feeling that life is very fragile, life is very fleeting, and but as time went on and I, gained all that weight after senior year and I was dropped hard into the real world and, you know, I was in this body that I didn't recognize and I had just gained so much weight and I was so miserable. I think a lot of things in my life I stopped caring. I stopped wanting to really like soak it all in and feel it because I just wanted to be out of my body and out of my skin and out of the fatness so freaking bad, and I was miserable. And so I know I wasted some years. I wasted some time on not living and just surviving and just getting by. And it wasn't until little puppy dog Chewy came into our life and we went to the house that had him, and he came around the corner, this little 1 pound little guy. And as soon as I saw him in person, Frank and I looked at each other and we said, "How much? We'll take him." And it was in that moment, like, I had this other life, this perfect, brand new little doggy, and I wanted to spend all the time in the world with him. You know, was going to I worked very close to our house at the time, like maybe 5 or 6 minutes away, so I could come home during lunch, I could let him out, play with him, feed him, and then I would have to rush back to work. And it just it ripped me, it gutted me knowing I had to leave this little dog in a cage in his little crate all day long while I'm at work doing something that at that time I wasn't loving anymore. I wasn't happy there. I didn't like the business anymore. The company was going to shit, and I knew I needed to get away from that, and I just had this feeling that there was more to life than just clocking in and clocking out and going to a cubicle and doing a bunch of work for people that when it really hits the fan, you're so disposable to them. And I said, this cannot be all there is to life. I'm late 20s at this point, and Chewy was changing me in the best way possible. And it made me start wanting to go outside more and explore and enjoy nature and do things that I never thought I would do, right? Because I wanted to do everything with Frank and Chewy, and we did. Like, we were laughing the other night how Chewy has traveled more places than most adults have in their lifetime. Like, he went so many places with us, and we were able to do things and go places and have certain experiences because of him. You know, not to get into all the details, like one thing led to another, and that caused me to get the job that I had at one point where we were running a pet influencer company, and we had conferences every year, and they were in different locations, and they were pet friendly, so he would come with us, and just all these like really great memories. And it really opened me up to even more so understanding. It deepened that feeling again of how fleeting life is because he was a dog. And I knew the first day that we got him, I already knew we are going to welcome him into our life. He's 6 weeks old, and we will, God willing, be the ones there when he exits and transitions out of this life. That is what you take on as a pet parent. That is what you sign up for. That is part of the trade off of how deeply you love them. It is your duty as a pet parent to help that animal transition to the other side. And it sucks and it's painful, but when you take on a pet, in most cases, obviously it's not every case, you're going to outlive the animal. And um and so that just really made it even more of a focus because pets are not here. That's their only flaw. They're not here long enough. And so I knew there's only so many years together, right? And I didn't use that as like this morbid, oh my God, it was a reminder, like, do the thing, go on the trip, take him on the walk, get him the toy for his birthday. People can think whatever they want to think about having a birthday for your dog. That dog had a birthday cake, he had dog treats, and he had new toys every single year for almost 16 years. Okay. Like, and I make no apologies for that. None. I can even remember thinking, "Oh my god, we already have so many dog toys. I should just maybe like not get anything or like not get as much." And then I would think, "But you won't be able to do this forever. Just enjoy it. Just do it." And you know, then we had Catalina almost 10 years ago. 10 years ago now, I was pregnant in 2016, which is crazy to think about. And from the moment I saw that stick on the counter to the moment I first saw her on the screen, that little heart, right? Um, Gosh, I am all over the place with emotions today. I told you I'm such an emotional person, and I hate that sometimes. But I it was like re-emphasizing, right? Like, there's this little person coming into the world. You are responsible for her. I want to do everything. I want to experience everything with this child. And I knew from the time I got Chewy. When I got Chewy, we both were kind of like, we were engaged. We were getting married the following year that we got Chewy. I got engaged and got Chewy all in the same week, FYI. It was a lot. Got engaged, got Chewy the same week, found out Frank was being deployed to Iraq for a year. It was a very it was a very high up and down emotions that week. But anyway, we were going to be getting married the following year in October. So at that point in time, we both were on the same page. We were like, no, I don't really want kids. I don't think that's for me. I'm happy the way things are right now, like just me, you, and the dog. And we got married in 2010. By 2015, I started having the like, well, what do you think? And the great thing about Frank and I is we have always been on the same page with the big things in life that matter. We may not like the same food, but where it matters, our values, our morals, our dreams for our life, our goals for our life, they're always like in sync. And we both were feeling the same way. Like, we're like hitting mid 30s. Like, there's a part of me that wants to, there's a part of me that doesn't want to, there's a part of me that's scared to. But if we don't, are we going to regret? If we don't do it, will we regret not trying? And we both said yes. So, anyway, made that choice. Catalina was born in 2016, and I was one and done. I was like, one and done. That's it. I'm not going through this again. As far as the pregnancy stuff and the newborn stuff and all the things that you go through. And then when she was around 3, that little voice was coming in again, and I was like, man, she's going to be so lonely. You know, Chewy's not going to always be here forever because that was her little buddy. I want her to have a sibling that I know they got each other, because I'm going to raise them to a place where they got each other's back no matter what. And we decided, okay, let's have the second. And then I found out I was having a little boy, and here comes Javi, and it was great. I was like, I got my girl, I got my boy, I got my dog. Life is good. And again, I think it just re-emphasized, oh my God, there's another heartbeat to take care of. There's another person to worry about. There's another person that I love so much. It hurts to think about anything happening to them. And I felt the same way with my dog. Like, I remember way before I had kids, and I had this moment one night where I was watching Chewy sleep, and I thought to myself, I can't imagine my life without him, and I'm going to have to one day. And I just sobbed. Like, I was so upset and so sad about that, and I just realized how much I loved him. And Javi's born, Javi comes around, and that's 2020. We all know 2020 was a shit show. And then 2021 comes, and back up, and all this is in my episodes. For those of you that know, for those of you that are new, you can go back and listen to all these things that have happened. But um after Javi's birth, I had like a near death experience. I got postpartum preeclampsia. I had to be hospitalized. I was not well. And it was very scary and very traumatic. And it was also very traumatic because I couldn't have people stay with me in the hospital. It was awful. So that happens, and then again, it kind of like re-emphasizes, like, damn, like, I gave birth to this beautiful little boy, and I was almost taken away from my children. And this is the end of 2020, like November. The following year, 2021, in June, is when we found out Catalina was diagnosed with type 1. And that really, like, I will say to this day, and I stand on it, it changed my brain chemistry. It changed the actual chemistry of my brain. It There are things I just don't give a fuck about, because I know what it feels like to almost lose your child. I know what it feels like to see your child go through actual hell. And like, I don't care about certain things anymore. I just don't. And I don't apologize for that. I'm like, if I don't answer the phone, I am very possibly putting on life-saving medication, like in injecting that into my daughter, and I don't have time to answer your phone call so you can bitch and complain about things. If I can't get together with somebody, I'm sorry, not sorry. Like, I got a lot going on, and it's just, I am just in a place where I could not be bothered about stuff like that. It's not that I don't care about people. It's not that I don't, it's just not a priority for me right now. Maybe in another season of my life, it might be, but for right now, it's just, my kids are my focus, as they should be, right? They should be. They're 9 and 5. Like, they are my number one priority. But I knew when I had Chewy, going back to this story because I went off on a tangent, when Frank and I were like, no, we don't want to have kids. I always knew, but if I do, there is no way in hell I'm working at an office. I knew that. It was non-negotiable. It was not up for debate. It was like, I'm still going to work. I'm still going to bring in the money. We're going to be a dual income household, but I am not going into an office from 9 to 5 every day and putting my kids in daycare from 7 a to 6 p. I'm not doing it. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know what that's going to look like, but we're going to figure it out. And I'm very blessed to be in a position where I have never had to put my kids in daycare. It has been a juggle. It has been a struggle at times. It has been a shit show at times. I can remember sitting in my old house on a conference call, doing meetings with my job, working my side hustle, and a baby in one arm, the baby swing sitting right next to my desk. I can remember being in this house. I've got my 4-year old, I've got my newborn sitting in the bassinet next to the office, next to the desk while I'm doing work. Like, so it's always been a balance for me with motherhood. But I feel very blessed to be in a position where I have not had to miss anything. I have been here for the pickups, the drop offs, the dentist appointments, the doctor's appointments, the good stuff, the field trips, the vacations, all the good, bad, and in between. Because not everything in motherhood is good and fun, right? There's those moments. But my point in saying all that is that we talk about being present. We talk about being in the moment. We talk about not missing anything. We talk about recognizing how short time is. And I have been present. I have been there for everything. I have enjoyed everything. I have savored all of it. And I've been present. But being present still doesn't make the time slow down. It doesn't. But it makes it worth it. I would much rather be present and be there through all the things in life that I want to be with, because the time's going to go by too fast anyway. Right? So the time is going to fly by. The time is going to go so fast, and you're either going to look back and realize, I was there. I was present. I was available. Or I was so zoned out. I hated my body so much that I skipped out on doing things. I told my kids no. I wasn't around for them. I locked myself in the room and I avoided them all the time. And I was only there to take care of them, cooking and cleaning and, washing clothes and getting them to school. But I wasn't there for the emotional stuff, the bonding stuff, the, experiences, things like that. So that's the truth, right? The painful truth is time is not going to slow down. Time is going to fly by. So how do you want that time to look like when you reflect, right? Um, because I have really thought about that a lot as the school years go by. I'm like, I soak it all in. Obviously, there's days where you just want the day to end. You just want them to go the fuck to sleep, right? But that's not the majority of the time for me. And anyone that says they don't have those moments and they're a parent, they are lying. They are in denial, because there are times I love them, but could you go the fuck to sleep? Because if I don't get a moment of silence to myself, I'm going to lose it. Okay? And I think there are so many women, and it just breaks me to know how they're spending motherhood. They are spending motherhood as a ghost. They are spending motherhood as this robot in the child's life, picking up after them, cleaning, cooking, signing the permission slips, getting them off to school, picking them up, doing the things, but they're like this robot. They're hiding from photos. So it's like you're a ghost in your kid's life. You are constantly waiting to lose weight. So you're waiting for the weight. You're criticizing your body. You're putting off joy. And life is actively happening around you. Let me tell you something. Your kids, they don't care what size jeans you wore on the field trip in 2007. Okay? They don't care. They care that you were there. They care that you weren't there. So imagine missing out on your life. Imagine missing out on your children or your family's life because you were so busy trying to shrink yourself that you literally shrunk yourself right out of your own life and you became a ghost. That is not how you want to live your life. We cannot slow down the time. We cannot get more time. We only have what we have, and it is finite, right? We can always go to work more. We can always make more money. We can always, certain things you can do again, and there's plenty of it, and it'll still be there when you get there. Okay? And think about for yourself, even if you don't have kids, but just all the energy you spend obsessing about your body while all these moments are slipping by. How many experiences did you say no to because you didn't want anybody to see you? How many times did you say no to going swimming or the pool or the beach or the water park because you didn't want to be in a bathing suit? How many things have you hid from? I laugh now because I used to be the one who wants to go out. I want to do all the things. I want to dress up and all this. Girl, now I'm going to say no because I just don't give a shit. I want to be at home. I'm happy. I'm content. I used to hate being at home. I used to hate the idea of even being a homebody. I wouldn't consider myself a homebody now, but like, I can't wait to come home and get comfortable. And so your kids and your family and your friends are not going to remember, oh my God, you were a size 16 wide when you were on that field trip with me, you fat cow. I can't believe you would even go on that field trip with me looking like that. No one is thinking that but you. Okay. And your kids are not going to remember your size. They're going to remember the moments. They're going to remember the memories. And I give it up to my mom too. Like, she never missed a single field trip with me. She was on every field trip, every class party, would volunteer at school. It was only until like 6th or 7th grade when I didn't want her, and why do we turn into those little shits, right? Where we don't want our parent to come on a field trip. And I wanted to do the same with my kids. I want to be on every single field trip. I want to remember those moments. I just went on a field trip yesterday with Catalina's class. Was I exhausted afterwards? Was I peopled out? Yeah, for sure. But like the memories, it was fun. Frank was able to meet up with us for one portion of the field trip, was so cool. And Javi was just on a field trip a few weeks ago, and I got to take him. And the kids are funny because, they're usually with us and we're all doing things, the four of us, right? And Javi would say because when I took him on a field trip, I had to put Catalina in aftercare so that I could be with him for the day. And he was like, Mom's going on a field trip with me, and you have to stay at school. And just, it's so funny because they feel so special, like getting to do these things, which I think is awesome. And I think when you have multiple kids, it's really important to do things as a family, but then to also take them individually and have moments with them as well. I think that's really, really important. And so, the big message here, the thing that I want you to take away, I know I've been long winded and I've gone on a tangent here and there, but like, time is moving no matter what you're doing. Time is moving at the same pace if you're fat, if you're skinny, if you're mid-size, if you're plus size. It doesn't care what size you are. The clock, it passes at the same pace. So the years are going to pass by no matter what you look like, no matter what you feel, no matter what you're going through. Your kids are going to grow no matter what you look like, no matter what you're going through, no matter how much you weigh. Your kids are growing up. That school year that feels like it's slogging through, like when you get to like October, November, all of a sudden after the Christmas break, it's like full speed ahead, isn't it? And so your kids are growing no matter how much you want them to stay little. And I'm very careful about saying that when people say, oh, can you stop growing? No, please don't stop growing. Don't put that energy out there. They need to be growing. They need to be developing. They need to be, your job as the mama bird is to let them flee the nest. You, as bittersweet as it is, you should want your kids to want to leave. If they want that, you've done your job. It's like one of my old mentors at work used to tell me all the time, it's a good thing if you leave my team. I don't want to lose you, but it means I did my job in developing you. It's the same thing with your kids. So you're either going to spend your life waiting for the wait, waiting to feel worthy enough to fully live your life, or you can start living it now. No matter where you are, no matter where you are in your weight, no matter where you are on your body type, no matter where you are in your personal life, no matter where you are just in general. We don't have to wait for the wait to live. We can start doing things right now. Summertime is coming. Summertime is coming. School is getting out. The kids are going to be home. One of my goals is for this summer. and I try to do this every year, but I really, really want to do it this year. Like, really be intentional. Is, I have my business, I do freelance instructional design, plus I have the podcast and the course. So I am pretty flexible-ish with my time. I do have instructional design clients where I have a certain, contracted amount of work that I do per week, per month with those clients, and so it has to be done. And there's certain hours that I kind of work on, and they're perfect. I mean, they work with a kid's school schedule beautifully. Like, I really landed something beautiful with what I'm doing. And let me just be clear with you guys. It sounds all nice. It sounds all pretty. It sounds all, oh, that's so perfect. That's so great for you. I want you to understand that that didn't just fall in my lap a year ago or this year or the year before. When I told you about Chewy coming into my life, which was 16 years ago, that was the beginning of my irresistible you journey. That was um the thing, the spark. That was the spark of saying, the little whisper started. There's more to life. There's more to life. You can't do this job forever. Things are already going to shit at that job. They already know that you're disposable. They've already told you there is nowhere else for you to go. That was actually said to me. When I asked about advancement, I asked about opportunities, and I was told, this is it. If this is what you want to do here, this is it. And I said, thank you very much. And I started formulating that plan in my brain. So I want you to understand that my last 16 years have been full of trial and error. They have been full of different opportunities. They have been full of different experiences. They have been full of me trying different things and going, this isn't for me, this is for me. It's been a journey. So to be in a place where I have things where it really fits me, it fits my life, it fits my balance, it works for me, it works for the kids. Frank and I have enough quality time. Like, please understand that did not happen to me overnight. It happened by a spark, by a whisper 16 years ago. And things have definitely not been perfect over the years. There's been some really hard times. Some really hard times. But I could save that for another day. So this summer, I really want to make sure that I am being intentional about my time. Now, there are projects that sometimes extend past the amount of hours per day that I am working. And I understand that. There's times where when you freelance, things are going to ebb and flow sometimes. But I want to be in a place where at a certain time, and I know what that time is, my computer is turned off. And that's it. That's it. We're done for the day. And I'm going outside and we're going to have a pool day until dinner time. Or I knock off and we're going to leave and we're hitting the aquarium. I knock off, we're hitting the docks and we're going kayaking. I knock off of work and we're hitting the beach and we're going to do the thing. And something I'm very intentional about, and I've had to remind myself recently, is that other people's emergencies are not my problem. You come to me with an emergency, I am more than happy to help you out with that. But I am not going to go into cardiac arrest and and go into the frazzle dazzle that it takes that you're in. I'm not doing that. You brought me a problem. This is how long it's going to take to fix it. And I'm not going to kill myself trying to figure it out. Because those work emergencies are not really emergencies. They're not. They're truly not. And I want you to think about, yeah, we got to work. Yeah, we got to make the money. We got to have the money to support the kids, to do the fun things and take care of everybody. But the work will come and go. Here's a great example. The other day I'm sitting here at work. I'm doing the thing. I was talking with somebody on Messenger and we're going back and forth about a work project, and Catalina calls. And I think whenever I see her number or I see the school's number, my heart drops, and the first thing I do before I even take the call is I check her blood sugar. Okay, her blood sugar's in range. Because, you never know. And she is hysterically crying. I can't understand her. So I automatically know something is very wrong. As she's hysterically crying, I'm already standing up from the desk, getting my phone and starting to walk. Because I was like, that's it. I got to go to school. And I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? She said, I'm hurt. I said, I'll be right there. I did not ask her how. I did not ask her anything. I said, I'm on the way. I am on the way. And as I got outside, I called her teacher, and she said that she had fallen. She like busted her knee. She busted her chin. The poor baby was on the ground, just boohooing, crying. She was in so much pain. And Frank and I were able to go get her immediately and take care of her and bring her home. And those are the moments. Those are the moments, because in that moment, I have complete blinders on. I don't care about a Teams message. I don't care about a Slack message. I don't care about a Word doc. I don't care about a course. The only thing I am thinking of is getting my child and making sure they're okay. And I will tell you the same thing when she was diagnosed with type 1, and it was a good solid month that we couldn't even work because it was taking that much time and energy to hold a 4-year-old down and inject that child 10 to 12 times a day. um, neither one of us were at work. And Frank was on FMLA, and I work for myself, so God knows there is no FMLA, but we were just the bills were coming in, and I said I'll get to that later. I can't even look at that shit right now. I'm trying to keep my kid alive. So my point in saying this is that when it comes down to it, when your child is hurt or your child needs you, everything else goes out the window until you can like triage the situation and get things in a good place. So I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that. There's a saying, and it says, you can have 1,000 problems in life until you have a health problem. Then you only have one problem. I'm going to say it again because sometimes people don't get that. You can have 1,000 problems in life until you have a health problem. Then you only have one problem. And it's so true. It's so true, right? So I want you to remember that because we don't get the time back. We don't, yesterday I went on the field trip. I worked a little bit early morning, took the field trip, came home mid-afternoon, and I had a project that had to be finished. So I worked until like 5 o'clock, which is actually way past when I work every day. And that's the trade-off. The trade-off. I got to go to school. I got to go on the field trip. I got to, make those memories. But there's a trade-off, and I feel very lucky and very blessed to be able to do that. So this summer, I want to be intentional with my time. I want you to be intentional as well. I want you to take the pictures in the bathing suit. I want you to go to the pool. I want you to feel grass. I want you to wear the shorts. I want you to be in the memories. Okay? Because one day, like, your children aren't going to remember your body, they're going to remember your presence. And I want you to remember that. And yeah, I want you to remember that. And just another like shout out to my parents. So anytime I would call my mom and dad and something was wrong, or I needed, like, it was an emergency like that, the phrase was always, I'm on the way. We are on the way. Never questioned, never what did you do? It's like, what happened? Okay, we're on the way. And I want to take that to my own kids. I don't care if my kids call me at 16 years old and they're at a party and they're drunk. We'll deal with that later. Where are you? Send me the address. We're on the way. I always want them to know if they're in trouble, whether it's something that they did or whether it's, just an emergency or whatever the situation. I want to always be like, we are on the way. And if it's something they did and they were in the wrong, we will deal with that once everybody is together and safe and triaged, right? So, let's start to wrap this baby up because I got to stop being emotional here. I'm done. I'm over it. So, really, this episode is about the fact that time goes by. No matter where you are in life, the time is going to go by at the same pace. It feels like it's going by faster, but I promise you it's exactly the same. So, the question is, how are you choosing to spend that time? Are you going to keep waiting on the wait? Or are you going to get in the memories, get in the picture, spend time with the people that love you, spend time with the people that you love, okay? Because it just goes so fast and it's just the sand is falling through our fingers as we speak. I mean, right? So not every day has to be live it to the fullest. I hate that saying. I think I might have done an episode on that. I don't even know, but I despise live, what is that saying called? Live every day like it's your last. Bitch, I'm not living every day like it's my last cuz you're about to stress me out with that phrase. You know why? If I was living every day like my last, my ass is not going to work today. I'm not sending my kids to school. I'm not budgeting. I'm not worrying about how much money is in my savings account. We're going to go below it. We're going to go below the savings account and we're going to go balls to the wall. We're going to go ham and we're going to buy $500 dinners. We're going to go jet setting all around town. We're doing it big, honey. If it's my last day on earth, so that advice is so fucking toxic to me. Live every day like it's your last day. If it was my last day and I lived that way, I would be broke, homeless, and jobless. Period. Okay? Period. So instead, like, let's live every day thinking about how we want to reflect. And not every day is going to be perfect. Girl, there are days I am choosing to do nothing. I am choosing to sit at home and play 99 Nights in the Forest and watch crime shows. And I want my kids to just hang out in their rooms because I need a break. Okay? Like, not every day has to be this magical memory maker bullshit either. There's a balance. It's a balance. But you get my gist. You get what we're talking about here, that we don't want to look back and realize, oh my God, I wasted the whole entire year. The whole year went by and we did nothing together. Okay. All right. I think I'm talked out. I'm going to go ahead and go. I wish you all the best. I wish you to be free from the emotional weight. I wish you to stop waiting on the wait. If you want a little bit of extra help, head on over to irresistibleacing.com/course. Make sure you sign up for the online course, and you also get the entire course in a VIP private podcast format so you can listen to the course on the go just like you're listening to me right now. I will catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.